The Under Armour TriBase Reign 5s are finally here, and I'm really excited to try them out. I tried the 4s and they weren't a bad choice at all. I want to see what's new with this shoe and whether they're actually worthy of consideration as a top gym or CrossFit shoe. Stay where you are. I would say that I'm quite new to Under Armour as a brand. Probably for most of my working out life, I've been mainly a Nike guy. A few Adidas shoes here and there, but definitely mainly Nike. When Under Armour first came out, I didn't really take them that seriously. But as time moved on, I've seen their influence grow worldwide and some of the features that their shoes provide. And it's now got to the point where I actually think that they're a real competitor to Nike. They're making shoes that look quite stylish, but more importantly, actually meet the needs of the user pretty well. At least from what I've seen so far. I recently tried the Project Rock 5s by Under Armour, a shoe made in collaboration with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and I will say that that shoe actually really impressed me. So I tried out the TriBase Reign 5s and I want to see if these shoes continue that pattern or if they go in the complete opposite direction. Let's start with the fit. Do the Under Armour TriBase Reign 5s fit true to size? These feel very much true to size. I have no problems at all with the sizing on this shoe. The toe box doesn't feel super roomy, but at the same time they're not really a narrow fit. If you have slightly wider feet, they may be uncomfortable for you. I know that some shoes, even when not advertised as wide fitting, can still be comfortable for a wider foot, but I don't think that these fall into that category at all. When it comes to my first impressions of the TriBase Reign 5s, holding the shoe in my hand, these really reminded me of the Noble trainers in terms of the simplicity of their design and feel. But these TriBases have more features that I think would make them stand out more. The design of the 5 is very similar to the 4. In fact, no detective work is needed to realize that the sole is pretty much the same as the previous model. Some may not like this, but I think if something works well and the customers like it, then by all means keep it the same. I really don't like it when changes are made for no real reason and you end up with a shoe that doesn't really work that well. But I like this sole, rigid and not very bendy, but that's just fine. When it comes to the upper, you do notice a few differences. There's a different kind of material in the forefoot. It looks and feels like a kind of weave material. They're calling this the warp upper. You might notice as well, the lacing area of this shoe has a slight curve to it, which makes them fit a little bit more comfortable as it makes it more ergonomic to the shape of the foot. This is something I would like to see more manufacturers do with their uppers, because for me it really makes a difference to how close the shoe fits to your feet. I have a pair of running shoes that have this sort of sideways off-center lacing position, and it really does make a big difference to the comfort. I don't think I've ever seen this used in a gym shoe before though, but like I said, from a distance you need a real trained eye to see the differences in this shoe versus the previous model. So what are the TriBase Reign 5s like to work out in? I will say that for my first wear I was actually impressed by how comfortable and how light they felt. They were really comfortable to walk in. Initially when I picked up the shoe and I felt that the sole is as rigid as these were before trying them on, I did panic a little and I did think that it must mean that the shoe isn't going to be very useful, but it isn't always a bad thing. Rigidity is actually a good thing when it comes to a shoe that performs well for squats and deadlifts, for example. My feet felt very close to the ground and stable. I didn't feel unbalanced at all, and the rigidity of the sole in this area played its part. They do have a removable insole if you want to feel less cushioned and closer to the ground when you lift, but overall I enjoyed squatting and deadlifting with these with or without the sole, probably more than I did with the previous model. When it came to running in the TriBase Reign 5s, this is where I was concerned about the rigidity. These don't have the Under Armour hover technology that some of their running shoes have. I didn't expect the running experience to be as good as a devoted running shoe, but I will say that they held their own in this respect. I ran about 4K in one session before I started to feel a little bit of discomfort, but for me that's completely fine. They do have a micro G foam midsole, which does give you a little bit more cushioning too. I don't run on my heels at all, I run more on the balls of my feet, so the cushioning in the heel wasn't really useful to me during running, but overall I think they perform just fine for running. If you're planning on running for longer distances, maybe over 5K, I would definitely change into a pair of running shoes. Overall, I would say they performed better than expected. I think the small change in the lacing position on the upper makes a really big difference in the way that they feel to wear. It gives the shoe a feeling like it's more fitted to the foot, kind of like a sock. This is a small difference that I think has a big impact. I'd happily wear these for a workout that involved a lot of high intensity movements. However, I personally much prefer wearing them solely for weight sessions, just because the construction of the shoe, whether intentional or not, is clearly more towards making you feel lower to the ground, something that I appreciate more in a shoe that I lift with. The sole does do a very good job of providing stability, and as I mentioned, the comfort is a big improvement over the previous model. If I wanted a shoe only for high intensity interval sessions, I think I would go for a different shoe altogether. But if you're someone who does a little bit of everything in your workouts, this shoe is a great choice. I decided I'm going to give these a 4 out of 5, and that's a solid 4 out of 5. If you do a little bit of everything in your workouts, this shoe is a great choice. What do you think about the TriBase Reign 5s, and would you go for them? Also, what Under Armour shoes have you worn in the past? Let me know in the comments below. So with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.